Friday, almost midnight. 24 cupcakes for the class party, frosted and swirled. My shimmer technique was the one I confessed to on this show. Shake the jar and pray. I shook. I prayed. The sparkle sank into the buttercream and vanished. 24 matte cupcakes. One very quiet 8-year-old.
Welcome to the Monégasque Table. I promised you brushes, timing, and one frosting trick. And that Friday night is exactly where we start. Because the glitter didn't fail you, Dana. The timing did.
The timing. Not the $10 of powder I was fully prepared to blame.
So here's the answer up front. Because somebody listening is frosting right now. Glitter on cupcakes and cookies comes down to 2 moves and 1 rule. Move 1, dust it dry. A soft, clean brush, a light pass, over frosting that's had time to set or icing that's dried hard. Move 2, paint it wet. A pinch of luster dust and a few drops of clear extract becomes metallic paint for names and details. And the rule that saves the batch: sparkle goes on last. Always last. That's the whole answer. The rest is the why, and a couple of fights.
And I brought the fights. I did homework on that little baking jar, and its numbers are not innocent.
We'll get there. First, know you're in big company. Every month on Google, about 320 searches ask about edible glitter for cupcakes, another 260 about cookies, the 2 biggest baking questions in the sparkle category. And most answers stop at sprinkle some on.
Which is what I did. I sprinkled some on. It sank.
So let's do the why. Sparkle Lab. Fresh buttercream is soft and wet, and a fine powder that lands on it gets swallowed. The surface just closes over it. The fix is the frosting trick I owed you. Pipe your swirls, park the tray in the fridge for 10 or 15 minutes, let the surface set. Now the shimmer sits on top of the frosting, where light can reach it, instead of drowning inside it.
Okay, but which jar should even be in my hand? Because the shelf has fine dust and it has flaky glitter, and both of them say edible.
Different tools, and this decides everything. Luster dust is a 5 to 25 micron powder, grains too small to see. Brushed over a set swirl, it reads as one smooth metallic sheen, like the frosting was dipped. Glitter flakes run 50 to 500 microns, each flake big enough to catch light on its own. That's your accent move. Press a pinch on top and you get visible twinkle instead of an even shine.
So dust is the paint job, and flakes are the jewelry.
You should be writing this show. Dust for sheen, flakes for sparkle. Hold that, because it decides the cookie rules too.
Right, cookies. Different animal. My sugar cookies wear royal icing, and that stuff dries hard as a windshield.
Which makes cookies the easier canvas, honestly. 1 rule, 2 halves, flakes want tack, dust wants dry. Flakes have no glue of their own. We've said it before, so press them on while the icing is still slightly tacky, and they grip as it finishes drying. The fine dust is the opposite. Wait until the icing is truly dry, then brush. Powder that fine clings as the brush works it in, and the sheen comes out even. Brush it over soft icing, and it drags and streaks.
Flakes want tack, dust wants dry. Fine, that I can keep. Now the painting thing. Because mixing powder into liquid to write on a cookie sounds like a craft project I will personally destroy.
It's more forgiving than it sounds, and there's a reason it works. This powder is a mineral, and it's almost insoluble. It doesn't dissolve in anything. So when you stir a pinch into a few drops of clear extract, you're not making a dye. You're making a paint. The shimmer stays whole, suspended in the liquid. Brush on the name, the border, the snowflake. The liquid flashes off in a minute or so, and the metallic sheen stays exactly where you put it.
And the cookie doesn't end up tasting like shimmer?
There's nothing there to taste. It's an odorless, flavorless powder. Heat stable too, so a warm kitchen won't bother it. The line bakers repeat most in reviews is, doesn't affect the flavor at all, and the spec sheet agrees. Tasteless is literally the listed attribute.
All right, fight number 1, the money. The little 7-gram baking jar is $9.99. I did your favorite math on it. That's $1.43 a gram. The big 15-gram jar is $14.99, which works out to $1 a gram. The cupcake people are paying more per gram than the cocktail people. Explain that.
I can't argue with the division. That's the round you win. Per gram, the small jar costs more. Full stop.
Thank you. Once more, slowly, for the people in the back.
The small jar costs more per gram. Now the honest case for it anyway. A cupcake batch takes a dusting. A little goes a long way is the most repeated line in this category's reviews. If you bake for 2 birthdays and a bake sale a year, 7 grams size to the job means you actually finish the jar. Paying less per gram for powder that just sits in a drawer isn't savings, it's clutter with good math.
The scorecard will remember the number anyway. Fight number 2, the audience. My daughter's class is 6-year-olds. They lick the frosting off and hand the rest back to their mothers. You're telling me those kids notice a metallic sheen?
The kids? Probably not. But be honest about who the finish is for. You didn't frost 24 cupcakes at midnight for the 6-year-olds' palates. It's for the second the box opens. The teacher, the other parents, the phones coming out, your daughter watching a room react to her cupcakes. 10 seconds of dusting is about the cheapest ticket that moment sells.
That's irritatingly accurate, and I'm moving on. Who should skip this entirely? Because somebody always should.
3 people. If your bake is display only. Ornament cookies, the gingerbread house that lives on the mantle, nobody eats it, so skip edible pricing altogether. Craft glitter is cheaper and made for decoration. If your real problem is pale frosting, shimmer won't rescue it. Dust adds shine, not color depth. Fix the color first with a gel kit, then come back for the finish. And if the sparkle you're dreaming about is in a champagne glass, you want the flaky drink jar, not the baking dust. That's a different episode, and we've made it.
Scorecard. I walked in blaming the jar for Friday night. Where I landed? 1. It was never the glitter. It was the order of operations. Sparkle goes on last, onto a surface that's set or dry. 2. Dust and flakes are different tools. Dust paints the sheen, flakes wear the twinkle, flakes want tack, dust wants dry. 3. The wet paint trick is real, and I'm testing it on one cookie before I trust it with 24-4. The little jar still loses the per gram math. That round stays 1. Right sizing is a fair defense, but it's a defense. And the caveat, display bakes get craft, glitter, and keep the change.
That's the whole craft. And plenty of bakers ran it before us. After over 400,000 orders across the US, Canada, and the UK, the listing sits at 4.6 stars across 6,669 ratings. If you want the jar sized for exactly this job, the Monégasque ASQUE7 gram luster dust baking line is on Amazon. $9.99 a jar, 13 colors made for frosting work.
Next time, a label line I've never once questioned. Is edible glitter sugar-free? It sparkles like sugar, and I have genuinely never checked.
Then we'll read the ingredient list out loud and find out. Quick note before we go. This show is produced by the team at Monégasque with AI-crafted hosts, and every number you heard was checked by humans against the documents. See you at the table.